Welcome back to the bettors on 24th of February, Wednesday morning, daily NBA betting analysis. As always, we have a nice little 9 game slate. Yeah, 9 little games. Not the greatest slate for betting, but there are still some decent spots here. We will go through the games as always. If you have any comment or feedback, you know where to find me at the bettors on Twitter. Please like the video or the podcast if what I'm doing is helping you, and subscribe. It helps me a ton. Announcement: there is no stream tomorrow, only 6 games. This will be my last day off on the week, so I will be back and streaming on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We have some great slates then and great games to look forward to. So yeah, we will get right into it. Sports Insights is still down, so I'm kind of starting to get into using Sportsbook Review. We will see how this goes. All right, first game on the board. The Golden State Warriors are in Indiana. Pacers are laying 2 points at home. Interesting line. I would probably make the Pacers a bit bigger favorites, to be honest. I've been looking through most of the stats for this game, and I think these teams are pretty close overall. But I mean, the Pacers are at home. They are on they are on 6 total days of rest, as they were scheduled to play the Spurs multiple times, and because of their COVID issues, those games got postponed. So they had 6 days off. They are fully healthy at home. Warriors played last night. They beat the Knicks. Curry and Green both played 37 minutes, so pretty high load. Road back to back. And yeah, I'm closer to 3 here, to be honest. Pinnacle has the game off the board right now, but BetCris has this one up as Pacers -1.5, money line around -120. I think that's not enough. Not sure I'm going to get involved. Overall, I mean, as I said, both teams are pretty similar. Decent defenses. I rank both in my top 10, and they are consistently pretty good. Offensively, both teams are bad at rebounding, not great free throw rates. Both of these defenses are better than the offenses they are facing. If you look into the matchup a bit deeper, I think both teams face an average-ish matchup. Golden State is putting up the 8th most threes in the game. Pacers are around league average in 3-point defense. On the other end, Indiana is putting up the most shots around the rim in the whole league. The Golden State Warriors are, again, a league average-ish defense there. So yeah, just based on the schedule spot and the rest disparity between these two, and the tiny shot that someone will sit from Golden State, I'm not expecting anyone to sit, but after playing pretty high minutes, I think there is a shot. I think the -1.5 with the Pacers is it's not enough. I would be okay with the 2.5. Even probably with a 2, but at 1.5, I think there is some value on the Pacers. Interestingly, we've seen a huge steam on the Golden State Warriors last night. They got multiple bodies back. Wiseman and the bigs basically all came back, which is obviously a nice upgrade. But they closed like -4.5 against the Knicks on the road. So yeah. People are like we always see this with the Golden State Warriors. They are kind of still a public team despite not having a great record. People just like to back them. So I wouldn't be surprised if this stays around 2 and this closes with some value on the home squad. I'm not running to the window, but I wouldn't be backing the Golden State Warriors on a road back-to-back, catching just 2 points. This Pacers team isn't great, but I mean, I usually fade them against teams that are extremely physical and big in the paint, and this isn't that team. All right, second game, Houston Rockets playing the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland is coming off a win last night. They got their first W in like a zillion years. They snapped their losing streak. Cleveland is still like 1-6 in the last 2 weeks, and their average point differential is -21. They are -16 against the closing spreads on average. So I'm not I'm not saying that this is still not the worst team in the league. They certainly are. Drummond out is huge. But in this matchup, it might not matter that much. Houston will be without Christian Wood still. DeMarcus Cousins is out. He will be traded. So we will likely see again the small ball lineup for Houston also. Questionables are Oladipo and Gordon. I'm expecting Oladipo to sit. He was without a time frame to return. I'm not sure if they will push him, especially if as he can get traded again before the trade deadline. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets traded again. But I think Gordon will play. So my line is Houston -4 to -1, depending on Oladipo's and Gordon's status. The only book on the board that has a line is Bet365 at -2.5. I think that's a nice midway. As we don't know Oladipo's and Gordon's status, and I mean those two guys together, that's a huge part of this Houston offense. I would certainly not look at backing Cleveland here. So yeah, to me it's Houston or bust, but I would need Gordon to play to get involved, and I would need a pretty decent, I mean, a line close to a pick'em to just back them. Some stuff about Cleveland. As I said, I'm expecting regression from them with Drummond being out. They were the second best team in offensive rebounding in the whole league. We've seen that Jarrett Allen is nice, and he had some nice rebounding games, but overall I think he's still a slight downgrade in the rebounding department. So I mean, Houston is fifth worst in defensive rebounding. That would normally be a big issue here, especially that they don't have Wood and DeMarcus Cousins. But I mean, with Drummond out, I don't think this is such a bad matchup. What I like for Houston is since Wood has been out, they have been slowly shifting towards shooting more threes than getting to the paint. They were basically playing the 2021 efficient basketball, either shoot a corner three or get to the rim. So yeah, since Wood has been out, like almost 50% of all their shots has come from downtown. Cleveland is allowing the highest field goal percentage in the league from 3-point range. I think in the whole game's handicap, that's the most important stat. So we have a team shooting close to 50% threes against the team that's allowing the highest field goal percentage in the league. Cleveland's last 4 games, 3-point percentage is allowed to opponents: 48, 48, 47, 46. Yeah, that's not good. So yeah, I think if Oladipo is also in and Gordon is in, I will be probably backing the Houston Rockets if we get a good line here. But I'm all right with the current line. This is one game where you have to wait for the injury report, wait for the line move, and decide for yourself if you want to get involved or not. But I think Gordon will end up playing and Oladipo will end up sitting. And if that's the case, I think this could get to a pick'em after Oladipo is announced out, or like -1, 1.5. But there I would probably look at the rested Houston team, even though it's really difficult to back them. But I mean, Cleveland is just not a team I can get involved in any way, shape, or form right now. Next game, Boston Celtics, Atlanta Hawks. This is another interesting game, not one that I'm looking at betting. Both teams played last night, so it's a back-to-back for both squads. Super bad news for the Atlanta Hawks. Collins is out with a concussion. He left the game. He was evaluated, didn't return. We didn't get official news, but he 100% won't be playing here. Collins is the second most efficient offensive player on the team besides Hunter, who has been already out, and he is a huge part of the paint presence for the Hawks. Hawks are attacking the rim at a top 10 rate, and they are pretty efficient there. But it's a big part of that is Collins. So if he's out, to me, it's Boston or bust. I'm expecting Kemba to sit, obviously, back to back. He usually sits the tail ends of these. But yeah, what's left from for Atlanta is not too much, and overall, I mean, the Celtics are unbackable. We've seen it last night. I'm not running to the window with them, but I think they will, with Collins out. The biggest edge for Atlanta is way weaker than it would be with him in. And yeah, the Boston defense is bottom 5 around the rim. That's the weakest spot for them. As I said, but with Collins out, it won't be that huge of an issue. So yeah, soft books have Celtics minus 3.5 up. I'm closer to 3 with both Kemba and Collins out. I still have a hard time laying this many points with Boston on a back-to-back. But defensively, I think the Celtics will be all right in this one. Again, what I noted yesterday, Atlanta draws the most free throws in the league, and the Celtics give up the 4th most to start with. That way more since Smart has been out. That's a big no-no, obviously. So yeah, and the Hawks allowed a bottom 5% field goal. So they allowed the 5th highest field goal percentage from mid-range jumpers. Celtics favored them over anything. So yeah, overall, I think the line is pretty decent. I would probably shade the 3 towards the Celtics myself if I had to set a line here with Collins out. But it's two of those teams that I can trust. With I cannot trust these with my money on a back-to-back. Toronto Raptors at the Miami Heat. Heat are laying 2.5 points. Heat are fully rested. This is the start of a 4-game homestand for them. Raptors did play last night, coming off a loss back-to-back with travel. Siakam played 42 minutes, Fred 37. Lowry was questionable before the game. He was scratched. It could have been because of the back-to-back. So I think there is a realistic shot that we will see Lowry back here. So this is certainly a game. If you want to get involved, you will have to wait for the injury report, or if he will be a game time decision. I think he's a significant enough part of this squad that he is worth waiting on for his status. As for the Miami Heat, Dragic is upgraded to questionable. He has been out for a long time. Hero is also questionable, which is a bad thing. If he was in, I would be probably backing the Heat here. I think the spot sets up really well for them. Fully rested at home. I think the core of the team is now fully healthy. We've seen the Raptors sit out guys on tail ends of back-to-back, so I will certainly wait for the injury report here. Both of these defenses are firmly in the top 10. I rate the Heat defense a bit better overall. They are like 8th in points per possession allowed. In the top of the league in effective field goal percentage also, and they have been getting better. They faced the 8th toughest schedule in the league. They had some difficult games lately. I haven't seen them confidently chain wins together, but they played like the Lakers, Clippers, Utah Jazz in just the last 10 days or so. Golden State Warriors. I mean, they've played some kind of challenging games. But yeah, overall, I think the line is fair. I mean, these teams are super close. Heat at home fully rested against the back-to-back playing squad. I could make a case for both sides, to be honest. What I don't like with the Heat, they give up the most turnovers in the league on the offensive end. They just don't take care of the ball. Raptors force the most turnovers defensively, so that's pretty bad. But on the other end, Miami draws the 10th most free throws. Toronto is giving up the most free throws in the league. The Both of these squads are pretty decent three-point shooting squads. Raptors are a bit better at making them, but the Heat are putting up a ton. What I like from the Heat is that they are kind of starting to attack the paint a bit more. We've seen, if you check back like their last 10 to 15 games, they have great success in the paint. They are averaging over a 75% field goal percentage within 4 feet around the rim, one of the best in the league. I think that's a smart way to transform this offense a bit. I mean, they didn't have Dragic, etc. Many shooters were not fully healthy. But I think if they can have these this double-edged sword, then it will help them. Overall, I think the line is decent. I would look at Miami or nothing here. If Hero is in and you are still getting like 2.5, I think that's a fair line. All right, next game, San Antonio Spurs at the OKC Thunder. I really want to fade the Spurs here, but it's a difficult bet to make. So the Spurs have been out for 9 days. They have been involved in the latest COVID contact tracing of the league. DeRozan will be out here. He's out for on personal leave. But there are two other starters out. Keldon Johnson and Derek White are out because of the COVID protocol. And Rudy Gay and Wessel is also out from the bench, and both of these guys are solid rotation players. So Spurs are down 3 starters, 5 rotation guys overall, and Aldridge is questionable. He didn't play since the start of February. I think he will come back. He practiced in full, but I don't think he is an upgrade or anything like that. In fact, the team has been better with him on the bench overall. So yeah, to me, this really comes down to the fact that the Spurs base everything on DeRozan's offensive efficiency, super high usage rate, one of the most efficient offensive pieces in the league. And Keldon Johnson is also a top 3 player for them in offensive efficiency. So 2 of their 3 best offensive weapons will be out. And the 9 days off, that's just way too much. I think that's at the point where the layoff is usually hurting you, and you need some time to get back in the rhythm. So I mean, if I would bet OKC, I'm not usually betting like first halves or first quarter stuff like that, but that's something you could sprinkle here with them. So overall, I think the OKC team matches up really well here. As I said, that they are terrible at defending the paint, one of the worst defenses, but everywhere else they are very decent at keeping the opponents to a low efficiency. And the Spurs are doing nothing else, just shooting these mid-range jumpers. They are one of those super old school teams, solid fundamentals, but I mean, they cannot really change it up. So OKC allows the 6th lowest field goal percentage on mid-range jumpers. Spurs shoot these at the 3rd highest rate. OKC is slowly ramping up their 3-point rate. They already have the 7th highest 3-point rate in the league, but it has been going up if you check the last few weeks. Like the 3-point frequency has reached like 50% of all their shots in multiple games. Spurs are the 8th worst defense against shots from downtown. So yeah, where this team is shifting and where they are excelling defensively, I think that sets up well here. But if you look at season-long stats, Spurs defense is grading really well. They are allowing a low offensive rebounding percentage, low effective field goal percentage, low points per possessions. They allow the lowest free throw rate in the whole league. So if you just look at the raw numbers, OKC matches up pretty terribly. But I have to say that they have faced one of the toughest schedules in the whole league when it comes to opposing defenses. So I think they are a bit better than what we've seen so far. But yeah, I think the matchup is decent. There was an out, Keldon Johnson out, Derek White out, Gay out, Wessel out, Ardich questionable. It's just too many bodies, and we get a healthy home team against the reg. Basically, the problem is that OKC still cannot really score. This will be likely a low-scoring game. ugly. Probably should stay away. But with everyone in, I would make this Spurs -3, and I think that they have just way too many bodies out, and DeRozan is at least a 3-point player to the spread. So yeah, I show a slight edge on OKC. We will see where the line goes. If we stay around like -1, 1.5, cheap money line maybe. It could be a bet, but I really feel that this is a game that I shouldn't bet. That's not what I feel about the next game. Minnesota Timberwolves at the Chicago Bulls. Bulls laying 4.5 points. I will be fading the Wolves again. Back to the well. It came through last night. Milwaukee Bucks beat the hell out of them. New head coach, back to back on the road. No one expects them to win with this roster and with the new coach. 12 players played for Minnesota last night. Minutes were more equal than they were before. It seems like coach is just testing out the possible rotations. We will see some guys getting minutes who didn't get any minutes before. They might end up better in the long run, but it's a process. It's not something you fix overnight. Bulls will beat them today. Chicago is grading 10th in offensive and 13th in defensive rating through the last 2 weeks. They went 5-2, +5 point differential, +6 against the spread. Lowry and Porter are still out, but everyone is fully healthy. I think what the Bulls are doing right now is working, and it will certainly work against this Timberwolves team. Wolves are dead last in defensive rebounding. Bulls have a better free throw rate. The Bulls offense grades 14th in points per possessions, 7th in effective field goal percentage. Minnesota is bottom 3 in both categories. Bulls can also exploit the bottom 10 3-point defense of Minnesota. It's just a bad spot with the new coach. 3 straight road games for Minnesota. They have won 1 game out of the last 10. And yeah, I think this should be at least 5.5, probably 6. But we could see this one balloon. I think this will be one-way action. No one will want to bet Minnesota here, and I don't blame them. Detroit Pistons at the New Orleans Pelicans. It's a 10-point spread. Pelicans laying 10 points. They are on extra rest at home. Pistons on playing third game in 4 nights. Road back to back. I mean, it's a difficult team to back in a difficult spot. Pistons are without Griffin. Obviously, he got sit out. He won't play for the team. He will be traded. Derrick Rose got already traded. Dylan Wright is not available to play. That's 3 of their 4 best scorers. Jeremy Grant is carrying the team. Some guys are stepping it up from the bench. Josh Jackson did have a nice game last night. He's the only other guy besides Grant who's averaging more than 10 points in the team. It's insane. Saban, the rookie guy, had a great game, but I mean, it's not a team you can really back on third and fourth, road back to back, etc. But my line here is 8.5. New Orleans -8.5. I might be a bit high on Detroit, but if you look at the matchup, I think it's really good for them. So obviously, the Pelicans are one of the best rebounding teams in the league. First in offensive, 5th in defensive rebounding. But they don't really have anything else going for them. And if you look at the Pistons, I mean, they are pretty decent everywhere, and they have some decent fundamentals. So the Pistons are top 10 in offensive rebounding, which is always good. They draw the 6th most free throws in the league. Defensively, they force the 5th most turnovers. So, I mean, what you like to see with a team, it's right there. The Pelicans defense is grading 29th through the season and 30th through the last 2 weeks. They put up 123 points per 100 possessions, but allow 127. So yeah, defensive rating of 127 is just terrible. Pistons get to the rim at the 8th highest rate in the league. Pelicans allow the 4th highest field goal percentage there. Pistons are also shooting more threes than the league average. Pelicans allow the most made threes in the league and the 2nd highest field goal percentage. So yeah, Detroit is a bottom 5 offense, bottom 5 defense, but they are doing some things right. And if you look at the minor stats, everything is pointing towards them. This is the first time the Pelicans are laying the second time they are laying this many points. They didn't cover the first game. Pistons are 5-1 in second games of back-to-backs. Usually everyone plays. Obviously, if you want to get involved, you should wait for an injury report here. They just beat the Pelicans at home by 11 as a 5-point dog. The talent difference is huge. Rest difference is huge. Pelicans should win, but I think the line shows some value on the Pistons. But it's really difficult to back a team on the road that's like 3-14 overall straight up. But I mean, we are getting 10 points and the matchup is decent. So yeah, I haven't made the bet yet. I'm not sure I will, but I think anything over 10 is a bit too many points here with the Detroit Pistons. Next game, Charlotte Hornets at the Phoenix Suns. This is another big spread. 9.5 is what we see on Bet365. Graham is out for the Hornets and Hayward is questionable. I think he will sit, and I think if he sits, this spread gets above 10. I'm making it 8.5 with everyone in. Obviously, Graham out, small downgrade. Hayward out will be a way bigger downgrade for the Hornets rating. Suns through the last 2 weeks have been pretty amazing. Plus 16 point differential, plus 10 against the closing spread. They went 6-1. Some nice little wins. They just beat Blazers by 30 plus. I think they can handle this Hornets team also. Charlotte pretty consistently the 20th best team in the league. I'm always joking about this, but in 95% of the stats I'm tracking, they rank around the 20th in the league. They aren't good, but they aren't terrible. But the Suns are way better on both sides of the ball. Very consistent when they are fully healthy, and they have been healthy for a few weeks right now. They have better rebounding. Hornets, again, one of those teams, they either get to the rim or shoot a three. This is the third best three-point defense in the league, and they can shut down teams. We've seen it in the past few days. Just look at the Portland team. That's basically one of the top three-point shooting teams in frequency, and they couldn't do anything. And the Suns have a pretty decent defense in the paint as well. So yeah, I'm not going to waste any more time on this game. I think 9.5 is a perfectly fine line for now. That's what we see on Bet365. I think Hayward will be out. This will get to like 10.5, maybe even more. That's outside of the range that I usually like to lay against a team that's not terrible, and the Hornets aren't terrible. But I believe in the Suns squad. They are super consistent. Very overall, any stat you check, the Suns are pretty decent at it. And I think they will be able to handle this Hornets squad. Last game on the board, LA Lakers at the Utah Jazz. Great matchup, not the way I wanted to see it. No Anthony Davis for the Lakers. Schroeder also out. Utah fully healthy. This is their final home game before going on a road trip to end the first half of the season. This opened up as Utah minus 6.5 and got quickly bet up. We are at minus 8.5 now. I'm between 8 and 9 myself, so I'm perfectly fine with the line. Yeah, I think this is a very different situation than where people, many sharp guys faded the Lakers against the Wizards, but they were laying like, I don't know, 6-7 points with their banged up lineup. But we are getting like almost 10 points here with LeBron James. So I think that's the only side I could probably look at this point. I don't show any value on the Jazz. I rate them as the best team in the league right now. Great defense, great rebounding, really decent everywhere. But both of these teams are decent defensively, and I think even with the injuries, the Lakers will be able to slow the Jazz down. I don't think Jazz will put up like a 130 bomb on them. The difference here is the Lakers offense that hasn't been anything special through the season. They just grade 15th in points per possession, 14th in offensive rebounding, 14th in free throw rate. Utah's defense is top 5 in all these categories. As I said, obviously no AD is huge, but I think Schroeder being out is a bit overlooked. This is a very slim backcourt. They don't really have quality guards to back him up. So yeah, I won't touch this game. I think the line is perfectly fine where it is. Hopefully James somehow keeps it close and this will be an entertaining game. I'm surely watching this one tomorrow, but yeah, it would have been way better if we get a full Laker lineup for this one. So summing it up, not too many sports that I like today. First one, Indiana Pacers. I think at -1.5, what we see on BetCris, that's a bit short. I think there is some value. Money line is like -120. I grade these two teams pretty equal, but the Pacers are on 6 days of rest, fully healthy. Golden State on a back-to-back. They played Curry and Green 37 minutes each last night, so I think just based on the travel spot and the rest disparity, I think the Pacers should be a bit bigger favorites here at home. Yeah, that's one spot I like. OKC Thunder. I would make the Spurs 3-point favorites normally, but they have a long list of injuries. So DeRozan is out, Keldon Johnson out, Derek White out from the starting lineup. So they are down 3 starters. And Gay and Russell are also out from the bench. I'm closer to OKC -2.5 myself, but the 1.5 is already pretty juiced on Bet365, so we'll probably end up with no play, no value. Chicago Bulls laying just 4.5. I'm at least at 5.5 with them. New coach for Minnesota. They are testing out rotations. The goal now isn't to win. This is the tail end of a back-to-back road trip. Karl Anthony Towns even might sit this one out. We don't know. They have just one win in the last 10 games. They still hold like a -8 point differential through the last 2 weeks. Bottom 5 team everywhere. Bulls are slowly figuring it out. I think the offense has been pretty potent lately. I like them here. And I show some value on the Detroit Pistons at 10. I would need everyone back in. I would probably like a 10.5 more. I'm not sure I can bet it, to be honest. But everything sets up well here for Detroit, and the Pelicans aren't a team I'm trusting to lay 10 points, but the problem might be the pace. Pistons just don't have the personnel to put up 130, and that's likely needed to beat a high-scoring, high-paced New Orleans team here. So yeah, Pacers likely a bet on the money line. OKC maybe a bet. Bulls, this is a side I really like. By far the favorite side of the day, even at 4.5, even at the juice 4.5. And then I show a slight edge on the Detroit Pistons, but likely not going to get involved. So this is it for today. There is no show tomorrow. Only 6 games. I will tweet out my breakdowns as always, and I will be back on Friday. And I'm streaming on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We have some nice little cards through the weekend. Please drop the video or the podcast thumbs up if you feel that I helped you a bit in any way, shape, or form, and subscribe. And thanks for tuning in. I will see you guys on Friday, same time as always.